yellow background. A little bit of a yellow green, huh? I'm going to drop in some orange on this side. I'm going to add some red to that, give it a pink cast. And all the way down. Drop in a little bit of purple up here on this side. And I'm going to let that settle. You can see the paint's running down. It means it's saturating on the paper. I'm using Arches watercolor paper, and I'm also using DaVinci watercolor paints. You can use whatever you have on hand. This is a beginner watercolor, pretty easy, 5 colors. I'm going to lift off with a dry brush. So I'm just blotting my brush on a paper towel, and I'm lightening this area a little bit. I'm going to lift off this, and I'm going to smooth this out. I want a smooth area, so I want that area to have mingled so the colors are smooth. I don't want any runs or blooms, what we call blooms. I'm waiting for this to dry, so I'm going to use my purple on the background, or excuse me, at the bottom. I'm going to use a smaller brush this time, using the number 4. So I'm going to come down here. I'm going to start adding in the bottom grass. And because this is still wet, it's mingling really nicely and blending into the paper, so you don't really see a particular edge. I want to have grass coming up, so I'm just kind of making some temporary fronds. I'm going to dry off my brush, totally dry it off, and I'm going to come into this dry center area. I'm just going to add my little background island back there. Since it's pretty dry now, I can start adding a little bit more paint because it won't bleed or run as long as it's dry. If it's still wet, it's going to bleed and mingle, so I don't want it to bleed or mingle because this is a background island. Making some little trees back there with this brush. I'm just going to go a little tiny bit farther. There we go. Okay, I'm going to take my small brush, which is a number 2, and I'm going to start making some grass strokes. You could also use a fan brush if you have one, but I like to do them individually so that I can control which way the grass is moving and make it different every time. So Maybe one to the left, one to the right. And just keep on going in an upward stroke. You don't want them all the same. Just different directions. Makes it look more realistic. Okay. I'll add another one that's a little bit longer here. Lightly using the edge of the brush now. Okay. And I'm going to give a little bit more to this background here. I think I'll dry off my brush here. Okay. And now I'm going to start adding a little bit more. Just tapping my brush, giving it a little bit more sprinkles. Okay. And next, I'm going to use my turquoise. And I'm going to go in and give it a few flecks of turquoise. But I don't want to get it up there on the other position. So I want to cover that area so it doesn't hit that above this area where I'm at. Okay, pretty good. And then I'm going to add a few sprinkles. Now back to purple. And then I'm just going to tap some more. Okay. And then I just want to add a couple small, very tiny little birds in there. And I've dried off my brush first so that I don't get a lot of paint back there. You want it very light because it's further away. So there we go. I think I will add a few more light turquoise sprinkles in here. Give it some more character. Just tapping my brush, and that's it.